chosen one. Stop at this very moment, not with shallow attention, but with your whole presence. Because what I have placed before you requires a silence, deep enough to receive it. Do not continue scrolling, as though these were merely passing words. Do not let your hands remain occupied with many other things, while your heart hears only half of what is being said, and do not allow tangled thoughts to pull you away from this moment. Breathe in slowly, hold it for a moment, and then gently breathe out. Do you notice what has just changed? It seems as though the noise within you has moved a little farther away. The invisible tension no longer grips you as tightly as before, and something deep inside your heart has been stirred, even though you have not yet found a name for it. This is not your imagination, nor is it a sudden burst of emotion that will quickly fade. It is a sign of stillness, as I lead you out of a state of constant reaction and bring you back into clarity. This moment is not ordinary. This message was not placed before you merely to fill an empty space, and the time at which you are hearing it is not accidental. I am stepping into the middle of your hurried life to remind you that certain things should not be fragmented by the sound of your phone, the comments of other people, or the pressures demanding that you answer immediately. Some words must be received in silence, not because they are secret or frightening, but because they are too delicate to survive amid confusion. Therefore, reserve this moment for yourself. You do not need to rush to share it, immediately explain what you are feeling, or search for someone else to confirm that this stirring is real. Allow me to speak before you let the world interrupt. Some things must remain in quiet soil after they have just been planted, because if the seed is dug up too soon and displayed to everyone, it will not have enough time to take root, my beloved. Listen with alertness and peace. I do not draw a person away from noise without purpose. I set them apart for a particular time, because what is forming needs room to mature. When guidance is still gentle and delicate, it does not arrive through loudness. When a moment carries sacred value, it is often protected from commotion. When an inner transfer is taking place, it needs to be guarded from impulsive reactions. I am drawing you back, not to isolate you from everyone, but so that fear, old memories, outside opinions, and overwhelming emotions will no longer make decisions in place of wisdom. There were times when you spoke too quickly because you wanted to be understood, explained too much because you feared being misjudged, or reacted from an unhealed wound instead of from the mature person you are becoming. Today, I am placing necessary distance between what happens and the way you respond. This message requires clarity, not a dramatic reaction. I am not seeking an emotional performance from you. I am seeking a calmness deep enough for you to hear what is truly happening. Heaven knows that if you remain in the noise a little longer, you may respond from your former position, speak words you will regret, or enter an argument that has no place in your future. Therefore, slowing down today is a form of protection. Silence does not mean you are weak, and refusing to respond immediately does not prove that you have lost. Sometimes maturity is seen most clearly when you no longer give control of yourself to words deliberately designed to provoke emotion. You do not need to respond to every provocation, correct every misunderstanding, or enter every battle simply because someone else has opened the door and invited you inside. Recently, there has been a person or circumstance that repeatedly touches the sensitive places within you. Perhaps they do not attack you directly, but they repeat an old story, awaken an insecurity, press upon something they know once hurt you, or speak in a way that makes you feel you must defend yourself immediately. They may do this through apparently harmless words, deliberate silence, cold behavior, or by continually causing you to question yourself. I want you to recognize that not every invitation to react must be accepted. Some people understand only the former version of you because that version was easier to guide through guilt, fear of abandonment, or the need to prove your worth. When you begin to change, they may consciously or unconsciously try to pull you back into the familiar position they once controlled. Today I say, enough, not because you are too weak to face them, but because the new thing forming within you needs protection. You are not fragile in the sense of lacking strength. You are in a season of transformation, like a young shoot that has just broken through the soil, full of life, yet still needing protection from careless footsteps. A new decision is being formed, a new perspective is growing, and a new peace is gradually becoming your foundation. These things do not yet need to be tested by every opinion, nor do they need to be presented before people who are always searching for reasons to doubt them. Formation must be protected, not by closing your heart completely, but through healthy boundaries, wise silence, and the ability to recognize who is permitted to enter the deeper places of your life. From now on, learn to distinguish between love and intrusion, between sincere counsel and words used to awaken insecurity, and between a relationship that helps you grow and an attachment that only wants you to return to your former self. I am not teaching you to become cold. I am teaching you to become discerning. You can remain gentle, without allowing others to cross your boundaries whenever they wish. You can forgive without returning to the place that once exhausted you. You can love without sacrificing your peace, merely to keep someone from leaving. The separation taking place in this season is not punishment. It is space in which you can hear again the clear inner voice that has been covered by noise for far too long. Therefore, when someone tries to pull you into a reaction, pause before answering. Ask whether the words you are about to speak come from peace or from pain. Let silence become the place where you regain self-control instead of treating it as an empty space that must be filled immediately. You do not need to clarify everything in a single day. Some things will reveal themselves when you stop trying to control the way others see you. I am protecting what is growing within you, but you must also cooperate by refusing to carry your renewal back into places that constantly attempt to suffocate it. Remain still within my guidance. Keep your heart tender, but your boundaries firm. You are not being separated in order to become lonely. You are being brought into silence so that you may become clearer, stronger, and freer. At the right time, you will step back among people without being easily provoked, controlled by the past, or forced to diminish yourself in order to preserve false peace. I am forming within you a steadiness that does not need to be loud, and it deserves your protection, my child. The exhaustion you are carrying does not necessarily mean that you have taken the wrong path. Sometimes it is the heavy silence that appears immediately before a great turning point opens. I know there are days when you awaken without the enthusiasm you once possessed. When your prayers become shorter, your hands move more slowly, and your heart longs only to rest from every responsibility. You wonder why you have tried for so long while the path remains unclear, and why, after so much perseverance, you must still face pressures that seem greater than your strength. But my beloved, Do not be quick to call this exhaustion failure. There are seasons when someone entrusted with a great mission must pass through emptiness, in order to learn that true power does not come from always appearing strong, but from knowing how to lean upon me when personal strength is no longer enough to continue. Moses once stood among a great multitude and felt that the responsibility upon his shoulders was too heavy. He did not hide his limitations or pretend to be invincible. The very moment he acknowledged that he could not carry everything alone opened the way to a new order in which responsibility was shared and strength was restored. Through this, understand that exhaustion does not always tell you to abandon your mission. Sometimes it tells you to stop trying to accomplish everything alone. You were not created to become the support for everyone else while quietly breaking apart within. I can send companions, timely counsel, and new methods that will help you continue without destroying your peace. Needing help does not make you weak. It reveals that you are mature enough to recognize your limits and humble enough not to turn responsibility into a lonely burden. Jeremiah also passed through a time when he wanted to remain silent because carrying a message few people welcomed left him exhausted. He was wounded by being misunderstood and weary from continuing to speak what was right in an environment that did not want to listen. Yet the calling within him continued to stir. This may also be what is happening within you. You want to walk away, yet deep inside you know the work is not finished. You want to stop caring, yet your heart still responds to what needs healing. You want to choose an easier road, but a pure inner prompting continues to draw you back toward your original purpose. This does not mean you must force yourself forward while exhausted. It means the calling within you is still alive. Rest when you need to rest. Step back in order to recover, but do not make conclusions about your future on a day when you are too tired to see the light. Hannah carried pain for so long that her prayer could no longer be expressed in complete sentences. Tears spoke what her lips no longer had the strength to say. Even so, I understood every hidden movement within her heart and answered in a way far beyond what she originally expected. Therefore, when you do not know what to say, do not believe that your silence creates distance between you and me. I do not hear only clearly spoken words. I also recognize sighs, sleepless nights, and moments when you can only sit quietly in my presence. Some prayers make no sound, yet contain the deepest faith, because you choose to remain, even when you no longer possess the strength to explain yourself. Weariness does not diminish the value of your prayer. Sometimes it is precisely when you stop trying to control the answer that a new door begins opening, in a way you never imagined. Even Jesus, in the garden before the appointed hour, felt the full weight of his mission. He did not pass through that moment coldly or without emotion, but with real pain, loneliness, and profound struggle. This shows you that feeling burdened does not mean lacking faith. Strong people can still tremble. Chosen people can still desire for a burden to be removed. Someone walking on the right path can still feel afraid of the cost of obedience. I do not condemn you for becoming tired, nor do I withdraw when you admit that you have no strength left. What I desire from you is not a perfect performance, but an honest heart. When you bring fear before me, instead of allowing it to rule in secret, you transform a place of pain into a place of encounter and allow weakness to become a doorway through which new strength can enter. Paul also endured pressures so great that he could no longer see any way to rescue himself through his own strength. Those seasons taught him not to place ultimate trust in personal ability, but in the power capable of raising a person after every familiar resource has been exhausted. My child, this may also be the lesson I am engraving deeply within you. You have become so accustomed to solving everything alone, enduring alone, and lifting yourself up alone that you sometimes forget you are permitted to depend upon me. When former methods no longer work, it does not necessarily mean everything is about to end. I may be leading you out of a way of life that constantly requires you to prove that you are strong enough. You do not need to save yourself through tension. You do not need to carry everything merely to prove your worth. My presence is not a reward reserved for the moments when you are strong. It is a refuge especially prepared for the times when you no longer have the strength to hide your vulnerability. John, who saw profound mysteries, also fell before a radiance beyond human strength. Yet a touch lifted him up and enabled him to continue seeing, hearing, and recording what had been entrusted to him. This image reminds you that exhaustion sometimes appears, not only because you have fought too long, but also because you are standing near a greater level of revelation, responsibility, or transformation. A small vessel must be enlarged before it can hold more. Someone accustomed to narrow rooms needs time to adjust after entering a wider space. Therefore, do not be afraid when you feel stretched. Allow me to touch the places that are weakening, adjust the rhythm of your life, heal your wounds, and teach you to carry greater things through peace rather than strain. The exhaustion of the chosen is not punishment, nor is it evidence that I have withdrawn the calling. It is often a reminder that you have carried too much for too long without allowing yourself to recover. It may also be the beginning of a new stage in which you must abandon former methods and learn a more mature way of living. Those who walked before you also cried, wanted to stop, and felt that their strength was unequal to their responsibility. Yet, precisely there, they learned that power is not found in never becoming tired, but in continually returning to me. You do not need to feel ashamed because you require rest. Rest does not oppose the calling. Sometimes it protects the calling from being burned away through excess. You must also understand that being chosen does not place you above others. It places a deeper responsibility upon you concerning what has been entrusted to you. You are not a throne in human form, nor a crown moving through the world to be worshipped. You are a beloved child who has been entrusted with light and invited to use that light to support, comfort, and serve. The weight you feel should not feed pride, but deepen humility. If I give you influence, it is so that you can protect the vulnerable. If I give you a voice, it is so that you can speak words that heal. If I expand your territory, it is so that your compassion can reach more people. True coronation is not found in standing high, but in preserving a pure heart when more has been placed into your hands. Before a crown shines, it is often felt as weight, because the one who carries it must learn to stand firmly without becoming prideful. Before power becomes a tool for goodness, it is experienced as responsibility, because you must learn to use it without controlling or harming others. But I did not design you merely to endure. I do not rejoice when you become exhausted and call it faithfulness. I want you to mature in both moving forward and stopping, in both giving and receiving, in both courage and gentleness toward yourself. You do not need to destroy your body, emotions, and relationships in order to prove that you deserve your mission. What comes from me will teach you to live more fully, not to become increasingly depleted. Therefore, when exhaustion returns, do not immediately believe that you have lost favor. Ask what needs to be released, which responsibilities need to be shared, what boundaries need to be established, and what part of you needs care. Perhaps the breakthrough you are waiting for is not only an outward door, but also freedom from a life in which you carry everything alone. Allow me to teach you that you can be strong without becoming hard, devoted without abandoning yourself, and persistent while still knowing how to rest. This exhaustion is not the end. It may be the moment when you put down an old method and receive new strength. I am still here, neither pressuring nor condemning you, but gently lifting you. When you move forward again, you will not walk through yesterday's strain, but through peace, wisdom, and strength restored in my presence. You have always felt different, because you were truly created to experience life with a depth not everyone can understand. From your earliest years, while others noticed only words, appearances, and what was happening before their eyes, you recognized the quiet movements hidden beneath the surface. You could enter a room and sense heaviness, even while everyone continued, smiling and speaking normally. You recognized sincerity in a person's eyes, yet you could also feel coldness concealed beneath sweet words. There were times when you knew something was wrong before any visible evidence appeared. You sensed another person's sadness, even while they tried to appear strong, recognized pain behind a smile, and heard the exhaustion hidden between seemingly ordinary sentences. You once wondered why you were so sensitive, but I want you to understand that this is not weakness. You were given a refined ability to perceive beyond the surface, not to be easily deceived by appearances, and to recognize things that many people understand only after everything has already happened. These perceptions were not imagined. They were sharpened through every season. When you had to walk through uncertainty, every time you learned to listen to the quiet warning within, and every experience that caused you to mature earlier than others your age. I allowed your discernment to be trained, not so that you would live suspiciously, but so that you would learn to distinguish. There is a great difference between looking at people through fear and observing through wisdom. Fear makes you guard yourself against everyone, while discernment helps you see the truth and still preserve compassion. I do not want you to become cold simply because you were hurt. I want you to become alert enough to know who may come near, what must remain private, where you should stay, and when you must gently leave. The gift of discernment was not given so that you could judge others, but so that you could protect your peace, pray for things that cannot yet be spoken, and choose paths aligned with my guidance. You have carried burdens that many people around you knew nothing about. There were nights when you could not explain why you felt exhausted, even though you had not done more physical work than usual. Some encounters left such a deep impression within you that it took days to regain your balance. You entered certain places with a light heart and left feeling heavy, because you had unconsciously absorbed the pain, pressure, and confusion of the people there. You also spent too much time trying to rescue people who did not truly want to change, carrying responsibilities that belonged to those who needed to take responsibility for their own choices. Compassion made you want to support everyone, but without boundaries, that kindness can leave you empty. Therefore, I am teaching you that sensing someone's pain does not mean you must carry it home. Seeing a burden does not mean you have been assigned to bear it, Some things require only your prayer. Some people must be loved from a safe distance. Some circumstances must be returned to me instead of being solved through your own strength. Because you feel deeply, your battles often seem heavier. A careless word may remain within you, long after the person who spoke it has forgotten. Betrayal does not hurt only because of what was lost. It also forces you to struggle to trust again. A room filled with tension can exhaust you even when no one directly harms you. Things others quickly dismiss sometimes enter deeply into your inner world, requiring more time for healing and emotional order. But my beloved, do not conclude that this makes you too weak. A deep river does not move as loudly as rain upon a roof, yet it carries the strength to nourish an entire land. Your depth allows pain to touch you more strongly, but that same depth makes your love, loyalty, understanding, and faith more enduring. You survived not because you were never weary, but because there is a resilient part within you that continually refused to surrender to darkness. I saw the days when you did not want to speak to anyone, yet still fulfilled your responsibilities. I saw you wipe away tears and step outside with gentleness, refusing to let pain turn you into a bitter person. I saw you being misunderstood and still choosing not to retaliate, being underestimated and still continuing to live honestly, and being abandoned without allowing your heart to become cruel. Your true strength has never been found in feeling no pain. It is found in the fact that you feel everything deeply and still refuse to let pain determine who you will become. Every time you rise after a difficult season, your discernment becomes clearer, your compassion grows more mature, and your steps become steadier. I placed within you the nature of a gentle warrior, someone able to guard precious things without becoming aggressive. You can recognize when someone you love needs support even before they speak. You often feel moved to pray for a person without knowing exactly what they are experiencing. At times, a name repeatedly enters your mind, a warning rises before a decision, or quiet peace leads you away from a path that appears attractive. These moments have taught you that life is not guided only by what the eyes can see. Yet I also want you to walk in balance. Not every emotion is guidance. Not every worry is a warning. Not every thought that appears must be followed. Your maturity is revealed in the ability to test what you feel through peace, truth, wisdom, and the good values placed within you. You do not merely move through life. You often observe, feel, and guard it with rare attentiveness. When others see an ordinary conversation, you may recognize a hidden cry for help. When others see only anger, you may recognize the fear behind it. When others quickly judge a person who has stumbled, you may see a heart wounded for far too long. This ability makes you someone who knows how to comfort, someone who can bring peace into a place of confusion, and someone who can use gentle words to lift a person standing at the edge of despair. But you must not forget to care for yourself. The watchman also needs rest. The one who often supports others also needs a place where they can be heard. You do not need to prove your strength by enduring everything in silence. I permit you to pause, breathe deeply, step away from the noise, and lay down what does not belong to your responsibility. Now I am revealing a truth you must receive gently. The deepest part I have trained within you, carried you through the days when you believed you could no longer continue. When your thoughts became confused, a quiet voice still reminded you not to give up. When you no longer had enough strength to imagine tomorrow, a small inner prompting helped you survive today. When you did not know how to pray, I still understood your honest silence. You do not need perfect words in order to be heard, nor must you appear steady when you are truly exhausted. I was near during every weak moment, preserving you through long nights and leading you out of places where you thought you would remain trapped forever. Therefore, your exhaustion has never automatically meant failure. Sometimes it simply reveals that you have carried too much for too long. It is a reminder that you need to return to rest, release burdens that have exceeded your limits, and stop forcing yourself to save everyone. You were not created to live in constant tension. Your discernment will become clearer when you are rested. Your compassion will become healthier when you establish boundaries, and your strength will become more sustainable when you accept help. I do not require you always to stand on the front line. There are times when the greatest courage is withdrawing into a quiet place, caring for unhealed wounds, and allowing yourself to recover. Stop doubting the depth I placed within you, but do not allow that depth to become a reason to isolate yourself from everyone. Being different does not mean you must be alone. I am bringing people into your life who are sincere enough to respect your sensitivity, mature enough not to exploit your kindness, and peaceful enough that you will not need to remain constantly defensive. You will learn to share without exposing everything, love without losing yourself, help without carrying another person's responsibility, and listen without absorbing every pain. This is the season in which I transform the sensitivity that once exhausted you into a source of wisdom. Turn former battles into clarity, and make the days when you believed you were too different become evidence that you were being prepared for a profound purpose. You have not been forgotten, nor were you created incorrectly. I have preserved, trained, and strengthened you, so that your presence may bring peace, discernment, and hope into places that greatly need light.